All right, we are now in 2020. Feels a lot like 2019, but act like it's a new year and it's something special, I guess. And as for the debate about whether or not it's the end of the decade, it officially is the 20s. It's the 2020, so I don't really care when the decade ends. It just looks nice. Anyways, Alex Stalock has been fined $2,000 by the NHL for diving/embellishment on a play where it was called goalie interference. It's the second time he's been warned about this year. You can't get suspended for embellishment. It's just basically a shame situation where you get shamed for diving. And with the amount of money they get fined, it's worth it. In a big game situation where a power play could be all the difference in a game, you take the dive. And hockey players have done it for years. And that's why we have the fine in place in the first place. So yeah, Stalock fined for diving. Not a whole lot else to add here. Nikita Zaitsev cleared to return for the Ottawa Senators. He was skating with Borowiecki at practice, so that's good news. And yeah, we haven't heard anything yet about Brendan Gallagher. We haven't heard anything yet about Alexander Texier. And so I don't have anything to put on the board. I looked and I hunted and I searched. That'll come out as soon as I've finished recording this video, of course. Yesterday at the World Junior Championships, Sweden beat Slovakia 6-2. Russia beat Germany 6-1. Canada beat the Czech Republic 7-2. That game I watched a lot of the first period of that one, and wow. Switzerland beat Finland 5-2. And what that does is it leaves Sweden winning their group with a record of 3-1-0-0. Because wins are 3 points, overtime wins are 2 points, overtime losses 1 point, and losses are 0 points. So if you lose during regulation, you get nothing. So it does sort of change things. Now, Switzerland was 3-0-0-1. Finland 2-0-1-1. Slovakia 1-0-0-3. So basically, Slovakia 1 win, 3 losses in regulation. And Kazakhstan misses the cut with 4 losses. In Group B, Canada does win it 3-0-0-1. So they won 3, lost 1. And that one loss was humiliating and left a lot of Canadians feeling bad about things. I never got into the helmet being taken off during the anthem because I want to see if it happens during the medal round. USA 2-1-0-1. They ended up finishing second. The Russians 2-0-0-2. Czech 1-0-1-2. And Germany 1 win and 3 losses. They will not be taking part in the medal round. The medal round is tomorrow. The quarterfinals are as thus. Switzerland will play the Russians. So for the Swiss, overachieving and getting second place, they get the joy of crossing over and playing the third place Russians from the group of death, as I've called it. Now, Canada gets Slovakia, which should be a little bit easier than the Czechs. Should be. And yet, you can never tell. This kind of tournament, it's a one and done, so the Slovaks could come out and play the game of their lives because they're playing Canada. The USA, for getting second place and playing very, very well, they have the joy of playing the Finns. And that could be as close as you're going to get to a bloodbath of the World Junior Championship game. And the Swedes, for finishing first, get the host Czechs in their quarterfinal matchup. So if I was wagering on this, I would say Russia, Canada, US, and Sweden. And US is only just barely. I think that one ends up going to overtime, and I would not be surprised if the Finns knock out the US. It would not be unusual for the US to be favorites going to a tournament and end up being out in the quarterfinals. I've seen before where the US, it seems like they win when they're underdogs and when they're favorites in anything. It doesn't really happen. The Russians have that problem too, but we'll see what happens. And for the Canadians, the road to the gold medal game, it's there. We can see it. We'll see whether or not they're able to get there. I also wanted to end this off. It's New Year's, so there's not a whole lot else to report on. The All-Star game does suck. So if you feel like the All-Star setup sucks and this guy wasn't in the game, this is dumb, and why is that guy going to the game? This has been an ongoing situation going back to the 80s. In the 80s, when you had the Clarence Campbell Conference against Prince of Wales Conference. I enjoyed it when I was like 7, 8 years old, and then I grew out of it. And by the time I was a teenager, I was kind of, who cares? They tried the North America versus the world setup as well, which some people think, oh, bring that back. There still wasn't any hitting. There still wasn't any intensity. You can't make players care about a game that is inherently created to be just an exhibition that doesn't mean anything. And when it's during, around the middle of the season and 90% of the league is on a few days off, you can't expect these guys to get up and play. How do I put it? It's not, well, no, there is no physicality to the game. Nobody wants to get hurt or see anybody else get hurt. So it is what it is. We look at the number of injuries you get on any given night in the NHL, right? We're never going to see a situation where the All-Star game carries that kind of risk because guys just don't play physically. You're not going to see any defense as a result. And there's nothing you can put on the line that's going to make the players play harder that isn't going to make fans angry. So, like in baseball, how they had it where, I mentioned this before, where the World Series, who had home field was decided by which, whether it was the American or National League, won the All-Star game. It's a bad idea. I understood what they were trying to do at the time, applauded them for it, still a bad idea. So I don't see the All-Star game ever being anything of consequence, and I don't think there's ever going to be a point where they get the teams 100% right. I'm going to try my own All-Star team because it's fun. It's fun for us to project out who should be on the All-Star team and who's there who maybe shouldn't be. But it is a game that, for instance, Dylan Larkin is the Detroit pick for who you can vote in. He has told Detroit fans not to vote him in because he's looking forward to the days off. And I'm sure he's not the only one. I'm sure there were players who, when they were named to this year's All-Star game, went, great, I was going to get the weekend off. All right, I'll go. The only way around this, I kind of advocate for just get rid of the All-Star game altogether. The game part. I'm almost to that point where it's like, we'll just have the skills competition. Have some kind of a get-together. You can have NHL alumni come out too. Make it a celebration of the National Hockey League. And the game part really doesn't matter. You can still name all-star teams, but we don't end up in a situation where if you don't go, you get suspended. It doesn't do anything other than make the NHL look petty. It does not encourage anybody to go who doesn't want to go. And I think it just makes the NHL look kind of petty. So we'll see what happens with this year's All-Star game, but they're not memorable. The last time there was anything really memorable was when John Scott was in there, and the NHL fought that tooth and nail along the way. He even ended up getting traded, because if he got traded, then he wouldn't have ended up getting named to the All-Star game. That was definitely why he got traded. So, yeah, I guess there are different ways we could try to make it consequential and make it seem important, but I don't know how any of that would work. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.